morning. Our lesson today is to score Unit 3 Grammar. It's about the comparative and superlative adjectives. To use the adjectives in the comparative form, it depends. There are some kinds of adjectives. Number one is short adjectives, such as tall, short, young. With these adjectives, we add er at the end of the adjective and we use then after the adjective, such as tall, it will be taller than. Short, it will be shorter than. Young, it will be younger than, and so on. For example, Tamer is taller than Ahmed, and Ahmed is shorter than Tamer. Number two is long adjectives. With these adjectives, we can add er at the end of the adjectives, as it's already long adjectives, such as expensive, interesting. With these adjectives, we use more or less before the adjective, and we use the main form of the adjective, and we use then after the adjective. Expensive, it will be more or less expensive than, and interesting, it will be more or less interesting than. Number three is the adjective which ends with consonant, but before the consonant there is a vowel letter. We double the last letter, such as big, it will be bigger than. Fit, it will be fitter than, and fat, it will be fatter than, and so on. Number four, it is the adjectives which ends with y, but before the y letter there is a consonant, so we use I-E-R at the end of the adjective, and we use then. Happy, it will be happier than, and easy, it will be easier than. Number five, it's the irregular verbs, such as, irregular adjectives, such as good and bad. With these adjectives, we can't use er at the end of the adjective, and we can't use more or less before these adjectives also. Good, it will be better than, and bad, it will be worse than. Exercise number one, cartoons are space than films, good or better or best. Okay, in this sentence there is a comparison between cartoons and films. Okay, and we have then in this sentence, so we have to use adjective in the comparative form. Okay, number one, good is it's not a comparative adjective. Number two, better, it's a comparative adjective. Best is not a comparative adjective, it's a superlative adjective. So we have to use better in this sentence. It's the correct answer for this sentence. Number two, an elephant is space than a cow. Okay, in this sentence there is a comparison between the elephant and the cow, so we have to use a comparative adjective, and we have also than in this sentence. Okay, the choices are the biggest, it's not a comparative adjective. Okay, number two, much big, it's not a comparative adjective also. Okay, more big. Big is not a long adjective, so we can't use more or less before this adjective. There is no need to use more or less before the short adjectives, but bigger, it's the correct form of the comparative for the adjective big, as we use the last letter in the double form, and we add er at the end of the adjective as it's a short adjective. Okay, number three, Arabic is space than English. Okay, in this sentence there is a comparison between Arabic and English, and we have then, so we have to use the adjective in the comparative form. Okay, number one is easy, it's not a comparative adjective. Okay, easier, yes, it's a comparative adjective. We use IER at the end of the adjective. More easy, it's not a comparative adjective, as there is no need to use more before the short adjective, which ends with y. The correct form will be easier. Okay, number four, Amr is space than his brother. Okay, in this sentence there is a comparison between Amr and his brother, and there is then in this sentence, so we have to use the adjective in the comparative form. Okay, the choices are old, older, oldest. So old is the main form of the adjective. There is no comparison in this form. Older is the correct form of the comparative adjective. And oldest is the superlative adjective of the adjective old. So we have to use older in this sentence. Okay, exercise. It's a correct exercise. The green jacket is expensive than the blue jacket. In this sentence, there is a comparison between green jacket and the blue jacket. So we have to use the comparative adjective. We have expensive, which is the long adjective. Okay, with the long adjective such as expensive, interesting, beautiful, and so on, we can't use we can't add er at the end of the adjective, but we use more or less before the adjective. So expensive here is a long adjective, so we have to use more or less before the adjective. Okay, more or less, it depends on the meaning. Okay, in this sentence we can use more or less. They are the same because maybe the green jacket is more expensive and maybe the blue jacket is more expensive. Okay, in this sentence we can use more or less before the adjective expensive. Number 2. Ahmed is strong than Ali. In this sentence, there is a comparison between Ahmed and Ali, and the adjective here is strong. Okay, to use the comparative form of this adjective, it's a short adjective, so we can add er at the end of this adjective. Strong, it will be stronger, and the answer will be Ahmed is stronger than Ali. Okay, number 3, winter is good than summer. In this sentence, there is a comparison between winter and summer, and the adjective here is good. Okay, which type is this sentence? This sentence is a regular adjective, so we can't use or we can't add er at the end of this adjective, but we have to use the correct form of this adjective in the comparative form, which is better than. Good will be better than in the comparative form. Okay, the answer will be winter is better than summer. Now, it's another type of comparison, which is superlative. Superlative is to compare between one and group. It's not between one and another one. Okay, there are the same kinds of adjectives. In the short adjectives, such as short, long, young, we use the before the adjective and we add est at the end of the adjective. Number 1, short, it will be the shortest. Long, it will be the longest. Young, it will be the youngest, and so on. Fast, it will be the fastest, and so on. The first kind of adjectives, which is short adjective. Okay, number 2 is the long adjectives. Long adjectives such as expensive and interesting. In these adjectives, we can't add est at the end of these adjectives, but we use the most or the least before the adjective, and we use the main form of the adjective after them. Okay, for example, expensive, it's a long adjective. In the superlative form, it will be the most expensive or the least expensive. Okay, number 2, interesting, it will be the most interesting or the least interesting, and so on. Okay, number 3 is the adjective which ends with y, and in this adjective we use iest, such as happy, it will be the happiest, and easy, it will be the easiest. Number 4 is the adjective which ends with consonant, and before the consonant there is a vowel letter. In these adjectives, we double the last letter, and we add the before the adjective and est at the end of the adjective. Such as big, it will be the biggest, and fat, it will be the fattest, and so on. In number 5, the irregular adjectives, which we can't add est at the end of these adjectives, such as good and bad. It will be the best, good will be the best, and bad will be the worst, and so on. For example, Muhammad Salah is the good player in the team. In this sentence, we use good, which is not the correct form of the superlative adjective. So we have to use it in the superlative form, which is best. Okay, the correct sentence will be Muhammad Salah is the best player in the team. Okay, there is another one. Heba is a tall girl in the group. Okay, in this sentence we have to use tall in the superlative form, so we have to use the before the adjective and use or add est at the end of the adjective, as it is a short adjective, so we have to use est at the end of the adjective. The adjective will be the tallest, and so on. For example, another example, the rabbit is dangerous animal. Okay, in this sentence we compare between the rabbit and all the other animals. Okay, the adjective here is dangerous. Okay, which type is this sentence? Which type is this adjective? This adjective is a long adjective. So we have to use the most or the least before the adjective to form the superlative adjective. Okay. It depends on the meaning. We can use the most or the least before the adjective. It's grammatically correct, but it depends on the meaning. Okay, the meaning in this sentence, the rabbit is dangerous or not? The rabbit is not dangerous, so it can't be the dangerous animal or the most dangerous. It can't be the most dangerous animal in the world. So we have to use the rabbit is the least dangerous animal.